Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Pop Culture Punch. My name is Béla, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Amazing Digital Circus and the cocktails featured in episode 5. I'm excited for the finale, and I'm ready to see it in theaters. I'm going to share some classic cocktails and one original that will be perfect to celebrate this show's finale. Thank you, Gooseworx, for the piece of art you have given us. I am eager to see how it ends. The scene is set. 5 of the humans trapped in the digital circus at a smoky, noir-style bar. Another one stands behind it, serving cocktails to the others. We see 3 of them order by name, but the other 2 have their own distinct glass in hand. 4 of them were classics any bartender would know, but the last was something Zooble had to come up with on the fly. And today, I will be the Zooble, showing you how to drink like the rest of the gang. So, let's get this going with something for the girl who went from riches to Ragatha. Now, what did she order again?
I'll have a Cosmopolitan.
That's right, we are starting with the Cosmopolitan, a famous drink that has a couple good highlights in its history. See that? That's Madonna enjoying one of the main man, Dale DeGroff's Cosmos. Once the photo was out and other bartenders started following Dale's recipe, everyone wanted to be like the stars, sipping on this new, sexy drink in New York City. The same energy was recaptured when Sarah Jessica Parker and the gals were seen enjoying these on the hit show Sex and the City.
A smart cocktail at the end of the workday. Samantha, a Cosmopolitan, and Donald Trump. You just don't get more New York than that.
Listen, Ed, I've got to go.
Yeah, good.
But think about it.
Yeah.
I'll be at my office at Trump Tower.
Good. May I buy you a drink?
I already have one, thanks.
Can I buy you an island?
I'll stick with the Cosmo, thank you. Cosmos are very popular at my day job, and I've made a lot of them. That is the recipe I'm going to be showing you here today. You're going to need a couple ingredients. Vodka, triple sec, cranberry juice cocktail, fresh lime juice,
Wow.
and an orange for garnish. Now that we have all the ingredients, let's build. Good practice is to start with the cheapest ingredients first, so let's do half of an ounce of fresh squeezed lime juice, 1 ounce of cranberry juice cocktail. Unsweetened cranberry juice is gonna lack sugar content, so ocean spray is what we want here. Half an ounce of triple sec. Triple sec is a type of orange liqueur, and typically has a dry, sharp orange flavor. Grand Marnier or a Curacao are going to be sweeter and richer, which is not what we're looking for in this drink. Cointreau is a go-to high-quality orange liqueur, but there are other good, less expensive options out there. Maybe skip the De Kuyper, though. And 1/2 ounce of a good additive-free vodka. We are going to add a healthy scoop of ice to our shaker and give a good, hard shake. This drink is not served on ice, so we want to make sure it's as cold as possible and properly diluted. Frost on the outside of a metal shaker is a good indicator. Before I started building, I chilled a martini glass to serve it in, making sure the cocktail will be cold as long as possible. I'm going to double strain this so there aren't any floating ice chips on top of the drink, preserving a nice, smooth wash line. This is a bit of a bonus, but I will cut an orange peel and express the oils over top the drink, brightening the aroma and heightening the citrus flavor in the cocktail. Garnish with a lime wheel, just like Zooble did, for a nice visual pop. Cheers! Cheers. There's a crispness to it. You get the orange, you get a bit of the bitterness from the cranberry, but you're definitely tasting a cocktail. You're getting the ethanol from the vodka, smoothed out and shaken enough, diluted that it turns into this really clean and approachable drink. I think the orange twist definitely helps and brighten it up, give it a little more The orange oils read sweet on your nose and can kind of help change the palate for what's a low sugar drink. Honestly, when I get my nose in there, I am smelling the lime here, and if I were to take that away, yeah, I don't get the lime quite as strong. So this is helping boost the liminess of it without having a ton of lime juice in the beverage itself. It's very nice. Well, that drink was great and all, but it's time to move over, Raggy. It's the boy. It's your favorite rabbit, dressed like a maid.
What the heck?
It's Jax, baby. And he is drinking the first cocktail I ever had when I was 21.
Give me a whiskey sour, but hold the egg white, since I'm a vegan.
A classic that dates back over a century. So long ago that Jerry Thomas mentioned the cocktail in his bartender's guide from 1862. The cocktail took on a new life around the 70s, where it was bastardized with cheap sour mix and bright red cherries. That kinda looks like what Jax has going on in his glass. It's a crushable drink, and Leonardo DiCaprio's character suffered the consequences in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And 8 goddamn fucking whiskey sours. Fucking bullshit.
I like this cocktail as a teaching tool because at its simplest, it's an easy 2-spirit, 1 sour, 1 sweet ratio. Bourbon whiskey, lemon juice, and simple syrup. But for this whiskey sour, I'm going to do it up nice as I can. So we are going to need 2 extra ingredients, Angostura bitters and an egg white. When you put one of those into a drink, it adds both a silky texture to the cocktail and creates an elegant white foam on top, which not only looks beautiful, but can be garnished like one would a cappuccino foam. But wait, Jax said something about that.
Give me a whiskey sour, but hold the egg white, since I'm a vegan.
Luckily for Jax, we have a vegan alternative. Aquafaba, a prettier sounding name for what is really just bean juice. If you take the juice from a can of unsalted chickpeas, the proteins are similar to that of an egg white, enough so that you can create a foam completely animal-free. Let's build this in a shaker, starting with 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice. Then 1 ounce of simple syrup. This is really easy to make, equal amounts of water and sugar, then heat it until the sugar has dissolved. I ended up making this batch a little richer, using an extra half part of sugar. Then 2 ounces of a good bourbon whiskey. I am certainly a fan of Old Granddad's Bottled and Bond. Something 100 proof is going to stand out well in this cocktail. Then finally, I'm going to use a half an ounce of aquafaba as our foamer. Want more or less foam? Adjust the amount of aquafaba to your liking. Before we start, I'm going to grab a nice clear ice cube and put it in the glass. Give it a couple of minutes outside the freezer before pouring, and it'll help stop the ice from cracking. Now, we are going to start by making sure our tins are closed nice and tight, and give a good dry shake for 30 seconds, helping incorporate a lot of air into the cocktail and build up that foam. We'll pop our shaker and add ice, shaking again for another 15 seconds. We'll double strain to keep small ice crystals from interfering with the nice foam that is going to form at the top of our drink as it settles. Finally, to add a nice aroma, I'm going to carefully drop some bitters over the foam and use a toothpick to decorate it like some cool latte art. And that's it, a vegan whiskey sour. Let's taste! The garnish on top would be a little bit more beautiful if there wasn't a cube of ice in here, but it shouldn't affect how it tastes. Let's see. Smooth and silky texture. I get the lemon that's well balanced with the simple syrup. And yeah, you definitely taste the whiskey, but the really approachable parts of it, where I'm getting some oaky barrel notes, some kind of vanilla, a little bit of the kind of sweet corn flavor that you might expect from something with a high corn mash bill. Not that it's corny, but it has, but you're getting those like classic bourbon flavors, but all kind of evened out, balanced. The edges are kind of cut off with the silky, smooth aquafaba in there. And if you use too much aquafaba, the more aquafaba you use, the bigger the head will be on top of this, the more foam. Use too much, you can maybe smell the aquafaba a little bit, just a little bit of beaniness. So I like to go to half an ounce, but 3/4 of an ounce if you want a little bit bigger foam. Really up to preference, but this is a good place to start. And you do get the clove, like in the bitters. Yeah, there's a reason this is one of my favorite drinks. Now that I've shown you how to kin with whiskey sour lovers like Jax and I, we've got to take a look at Pomni and Gangle. Unfortunately, neither of these gals order their drink on screen, so I started with a little Reddit research. This user Zophie Kitty claims to have rigged the assets, and that Pomni is drinking a Negroni and Gangle has an iced tea. Even without deep diving and verifying their claim, I wouldn't have a better guess for these two cocktails. We'll save Pomni for a little later, but let's put on our comedy masks and have a blast looking at Gangle. Let's assume she's not just drinking a glass of black tea served cold with a lemon, and guess that she is instead drinking a Long Island iced tea, a drink well known for looking like a glass of iced tea, maybe even tasting like a glass of iced tea, but containing no tea at all. Is it easy to make? Yes, but you're going to need a lot of ingredients. Vodka, gin, light rum, Blanco tequila, triple sec, lemon, simple syrup, and Coca-Cola. Now you might be wondering, can you really taste all those ingredients that go in this cocktail? The flavors all meld together into something that's generally balanced, but with an indistinct flavor profile. Like iced tea, it's easy to drink, but unlike iced tea, has 2.5 ounces of liquor in it.
You're drunk or something.
Since the 1970s, the Long Island has been popular for being both drinkable and dangerous. It's there for the inexperienced drinker to get drunk, and I think the Gilmore Girl Lorelai says it best.
Somewhere around there.
Why would you tell us you were calling Max?
Honey, someday, when you're a little older, you will be introduced to something that is extremely seductive but fickle. A fair-weather friend who seems benign but packs a wallop like a donkey kick, and that is the Long Island iced tea.
It makes sense for Gangle. She'd probably want to keep the fact that she's getting drunk subtle, and not call attention to the booze she's drinking. Anyways, let's get to building. Let's start with 1 ounce of lemon juice right into our shaker, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, 1/2 ounce of triple sec, 1/2 ounce of vodka, 1/2 ounce of white rum, 1/2 ounce of tequila blanco, 1/2 ounce of gin. Add some ice and give it a short shake, just to incorporate everything. Now we are going to open pour this into a pint glass and add some more ice to the top. We'll finish by adding some Coca-Cola to fill, watching as it cascades down the side of the glass and starts to resemble the soft brown hue of iced tea. Garnish with a slice of lemon. There it is, the Long Island iced tea. Cheers! All right, the Long Island iced tea. Cheers. So in this version of the Long Island iced tea, the interesting thing is because you're using a small amount of multiple different liquors, you're not getting huge flavors jumping at you from each one in particular. I used a high proof tequila in this, so that really gave it a little more of a backbone compared to the standard rum, gin, and vodka I used. So when I sip this, I'm getting tequila. I can't say I really taste any of the other base spirits, but the tequila is coming through. I'm getting, a bit of acid, a bit of sugar from the Coke, and I'm getting the lemon in there, but in iced tea-like is not inaccurate. Ambiguous flavor maybe, but It's like a Cuba Libre, or a Batanga, closer to a Batanga because that's tequila, Coke, lime. This has lemon instead of lime, but there's a similar DNA to both of those drinks, and this one's just a little more complicated perhaps, and it's toning down all of the liquors so none of them are really overpowering the drink. I never order these, but I'm actually enjoying sipping this one right now. Now, if you thought this last cocktail was a bit too easy to drink, not able to taste the booze like you want to, well, we just have to look back at that post to see that Pomni was drinking a Negroni. The Negroni is an Italian cocktail from the early to mid-1900s, and in my opinion, one of the most challenging cocktails for a novice drinker. The Negroni is a classic that's been loved by the stars for most of the 20th century. To quote the director Orson Welles, "The bitters are excellent for your liver, the gin is bad for you. They balance each other out." I haven't made myself a Negroni since the first couple months of bartending, and I've only tasted riffs on the original since. When I remember what they taste like, it really makes sense for Pomni to enjoy this cocktail, and has parallels with what she's talking about to Jax in the bar.
Well, I sometimes got bored of things, and I would seek out mild thrills, like exploring abandoned buildings, and posting videos of it online.
A mild thrill might be exploring abandoned buildings, or it could be exploring a drink that challenges you and takes time to sip and dissect. Whenever I drink boozy, botanical drinks like a Negroni, I often imagine I'm imbibing some sort of alchemical potion or elixir. When you start to approach these intense, unfamiliar flavors with a different mindset, it can help you appreciate the challenging piece of liquid artwork before you. Before we get into the recipe, though, I'd like to comment that in the show, this drink is garnished a little strangely. I wouldn't have guessed that this was a Negroni, because I read this green part as a lime twist. I'm sure there are tequila or mezcal Negroni riffs out there that might take a lime twist, but this is irregular for the original. Does that make me think that the Reddit post was wrong? No, not necessarily. Classically, this drink gets an orange slice or an orange twist, but green is a complementary color to red, not orange. So I just think it looked better visually on screen. I'm gonna make my Negroni the way I make it though. On to the recipe. We're going to need 3 bottles for this: a London Dry Gin, Campari, a sweet red or Rosso vermouth, and an orange for its peel. I'm going to build this in a mixing glass, though you could stir this in the rocks glass itself or a shaker. 1 ounce of sweet red vermouth. I've never been the biggest fan of vermouth. Something about the sweet, round, botanical flavor reminds me of medicine. So today, I'm trying a brand that I've never had before, Carpano Classico. Let's see how I like it. Speaking of which, if you buy vermouth and open it, put it in the fridge, and tastes worse and worse the longer you keep it open. But keeping it in the fridge will slow that process down. 1 ounce of London Dry Gin. Gin is a spirit that gets its flavor from citrus and botanicals, but primarily juniper. 1 ounce of Campari. Campari is a very bitter aperitif, something to drink before a meal to stoke your appetite. Now we will add ice and give it a really good stir. This is going to be served over a cube of ice, but we still want to thoroughly chill and dilute the drink beforehand. 30 seconds of stirring, and then we strain over a nice cube, tempered beforehand so it doesn't crack. We will finish with a nice twist of orange over top, making sure to express the fragrant oils before garnishing. Now, no more clowning around. Time to imbibe our potion. Cheers! I get orange on the nose. That's pleasant. I can't say I get much of the liquors on the nose. A little bit of the aromatized wine. All right, let's taste. Vermouth. Vermouth comes first. It's the first thing you taste. You get the cold, like when you stir a drink, it's going to be have a different type of smooth texture since there's not a lot of air bubbles in it. Kind of washes over your tongue for a second until, boom, you're getting the vermouth. You're getting the kind of rounded wine flavor that comes from the vermouth. And then second of that hits you with the bitterness of the Campari. When it washes over your tongue, the bitterness kind of sits in the middle, and that's where you start to taste the botanicals of the vermouth. It's interesting. I'm not recoiling from it like I did when I first drank a Negroni 4 years ago. The orange is pleasant. I would not skip the orange. I imagine lemon or lime would work. Be a little strange maybe, but I think I'm enjoying this. For someone who's not big into vermouth, who likes small amounts of Campari, I typically like stirred whiskey or rum drinks preferred to gin like this, but it comes together in a way that's an experience. Thrilling, mildly thrilling. Those were the 4 classic cocktails featured in the Amazing Digital Circus, but we have one more cocktail tonight.
Give me a corncob blitz.
What do you put in one of those? Who knows? Definitely not Kinger. Zubul had to get creative. We see them grab 3 bottles, and according to that Reddit post, those bottles are vodka, cranberry juice, and whiskey. They're making both Ragatha's and Kinger's drinks at the same time, and we know vodka and cranberry go in the Cosmo, so one thing we can conclude is that the corncob blitz has whiskey in it. It looks yellow, with a half corncob garnish, and that's all I can see. I don't really have anything else to go by here. Archer famously drank a Horatio Cornblower, but I don't think he'd be drinking the same thing as Kinger.
No, yeah, but, you know.
So I hunkered down in my blanket fort and got to mixing. It took a lot of experimenting, but I think I came up with something delicious. A riff on the old-fashioned, here's the Corncob Blitz. Chocolate bitters, Nixta Elote liqueur, coffee liqueur, mellow corn whiskey, a lemon, and a corncob. I'm going to mix this in a stirring glass like the Negroni. I'll start by adding 3 to 4 dashes of chocolate bitters, 1/3 of an ounce of Nixta Elote liqueur, a scant 1/4 ounce of coffee liqueur, and 2 ounces of mellow corn whiskey. We are going to add a healthy scoop of ice, give this a nice stir, and pour over a nice clear cube. Garnish with a peel of lemon to brighten everything up. And if you're taking a photo, go ahead and throw some corn on the cob right on the side there. Time to enjoy! Now, this garnish was kind of hard to get onto the edge. Would have been a little easier if I boiled the corn. I do smell a bit of corn. I'm getting the lemon from the lemon twist, which kind of brightens it up. I think the lemon twist helps. This corn is not adding to the corn aroma, but what I'm getting from the drink, that Nixta corn liqueur gives us like corn silk, corn husk, roasted aroma that I'm really digging. I made this drink a couple times now, and I think I got the balance right this time. I split the base originally like equal parts, like 1/4 ounce Luxardo espresso liqueur, 1/4 ounce the Nixta Elote liqueur, and I was finding too much coffee, not enough corn. Now that I upped it to like 2/3, down to like maybe, you know, a sixth, an eighth, a scant quarter, a heavy quarter, just emphasizing that corn a little bit more so it's being supported by the coffee. The coffee flavor is very strong, you don't need a lot of it, and you don't want this to be a coffee drink, you want this to be a corn drink. I think I made a good choice bumping up the corn liqueur and knocking down the Luxardo. And you're getting some vanilla, you're getting it's a lighter kind of whiskey flavor than the bourbon we had earlier is. That's a little more robust. They're both bottled in bond, so they have a body that kind of, you know, I'm getting a heat on this drink that I feel in my chest, which is something you want, in my opinion, when you're drinking an old-fashioned like this. Let me go back in one more time. The bitters do their job here of tying everything together. I use these cocoa bitters, but it's not a chocolate drink either. It just kind of connects the, like, espresso and chocolate are an easy mix. Chocolate and whiskey, and was actually one of in my research into this corn liqueur when I bought it. That's one thing that a lot of people suggested was you know, try adding cocoa bitters to drinks with this liqueur in it. This little garnish on the edge here is very unnecessary, but it you know, more accurate, and I think I made a drink that I really like. I think you might like. I think Kinger would like this, and I think Zubel would be proud of me. Yeah, that's some good stuff. That's all the drinks I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you try these out or what you'd like to see next. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to see more. Thanks, and have a great day.